Have you ever been in a conversation where everything just stopped? That moment when both of you fall silent, awkwardly looking around, waiting for something, anything, to say. You start replaying in your head, did I say something wrong? Should I ask another question? Or maybe just smile and nod? Yeah, we've all been there. Let me tell you a story about a guy named Rafi. Rafi was one of those people who always felt nervous in social situations. Every time he met someone new, he would panic inside. He wanted to connect, but his mind often went blank after the first few minutes. Until one day, something changed. It happened at a cafe. He was meeting his colleague Tara for a project discussion. At first, they talked about work. Deadlines, tasks, all the usual stuff. But when that topic ended, silence slowly crept in. Rafi took a deep breath. This time, instead of forcing a topic, he tried something different. He observed. He noticed Tara's phone case had a picture of a cat wearing sunglasses. So he smiled and asked, "Is that your cat?" "It looks like a little celebrity." Tara laughed. "Yeah, that's Mochi. She actually has an Instagram account." And just like that, the conversation shifted from awkward silence to laughter, to stories about pets, to travel, to dreams. The secret? Rafi stopped trying to impress and started being curious. A few weeks later, Rafi went to a friend's party. He met Alia, a girl he'd never talked to before. Instead of starting with the usual, "So what do you do?" he noticed Alia was wearing a bracelet with a tiny compass charm. He asked, "That's a cool bracelet. Do you like traveling?" Her face lit up. "Yes, I actually just came back from a hiking trip in Bali." Rafi smiled and asked a follow-up. "Wow, Bali. What was your favorite part of the hike?" Before he knew it, they were talking about their favorite travel spots, food, and even sharing funny stories about getting lost on trips. That one small observation, a bracelet, turned into an entire conversation. Of course, not every conversation goes smoothly. One time, Rafi was trying to impress someone he liked. He made a joke about a movie he hadn't actually seen. The person paused, raised an eyebrow, and asked, "Wait, you've never seen it?" Rafi froze. Silence. Awkward laughter. He felt embarrassed, and the conversation stalled for a few seconds. Here's the thing. Awkward moments are normal. Psychologists explain that awkwardness happens when social norms or expectations aren't met. Our brains detect a social mismatch, which triggers mild stress. That's why we feel nervous or embarrassed. But here's the key. How you respond matters more than the awkwardness itself. Rafi laughed at himself and said, "Okay, you caught me. I haven't seen it. But now I'm curious. Can you tell me why it's so good?" By admitting the truth and showing curiosity, he turned the awkward moment into a deeper conversation. The other person felt seen, and the interaction became genuine. How to be social is one of those topics we all want to get better at. Conversing with people is one of the most effective ways to become social, and it's a skill that can open doors in both personal and professional life. One of the biggest challenges people face is knowing how to never run out of things to say. This isn't just a fun party trick. It's a crucial skill for building meaningful connections. And let's be honest, learning how to keep a conversation going is something a lot of people, especially guys, are trying to master. The good news? It's not about being witty or talking endlessly. It's about curiosity, attention, and empathy. Keeping a conversation going isn't about knowing what to say next. It's about being present. Psychologists call it active listening. When you listen not to reply, but to understand, your brain picks up emotional cues, small details, and keywords you can use to continue the flow. Another psychological trick is the mirroring technique. subtly reflecting the other person's tone, pace, or body language. It builds trust and makes the other person feel comfortable. And here's one more secret. People love to talk about themselves, not out of vanity, but because it's how we process identity and emotions. Studies show that when someone talks about themselves, the brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. So when you give them space to share, you're not just keeping the conversation alive, you're creating a positive emotional experience. Even awkward moments can strengthen connections if handled with honesty, humor, and curiosity. Tips to keep a conversation going. Here are some practical tips you can use to never run out of things to say. Observe small details. Notice something unique about the person or environment, like clothing, accessories, or objects. Use it to start a question. Example: I love your notebook. Do you like journaling? Ask open-ended questions. Questions that require more than yes or no keep the conversation flowing. Example: instead of, did you have a good weekend? Ask, what was the highlight of your weekend? Active listening. Listen to understand, not just to reply. Pick up on keywords or emotions and respond thoughtfully. Share short stories. Relate with a small personal anecdote. People connect through stories more than facts. Embrace awkward moments. Don't panic. Laugh, admit mistakes, or ask curiosity-driven follow-ups. Awkwardness can become connection if handled with honesty. Mirror their energy. Match their tone, pace, or enthusiasm subtly. It builds rapport and comfort. Be curious, not perfect. Genuine curiosity is more attractive than trying to sound witty or smart. After these experiences, Rafi realized something powerful. Good conversations aren't built on perfect words. They're built on genuine curiosity. He started practicing this everywhere, with coworkers, friends, even strangers. He'd look for small details, listen actively, and respond with questions that invited stories instead of short answers. And soon, people began to open up to him more. They laughed with him, trusted him, and even called him easy to talk to. Not because he talked a lot, but because he made them feel heard. Being social is a skill anyone can improve. Keeping a conversation going, never running out of things to say, and making others feel heard are all keys to becoming more confident and socially skilled. So next time you find yourself in that awkward silence, don't panic. Look closer. Listen deeper. Laugh at yourself if needed. Ask with curiosity, not pressure. Because the best conversations don't come from knowing what to say. They come from wanting to understand the person in front of you.